This conference will now be recorded.
How you doing, Byron? Very cool. Mr. Smith? We're busy. No, I don't. Story post. So I'm a really sure person. Yes, we can it was exhausting this weekend.
Really don't know.
Yeah, you enjoying yourself? Go ahead and call this meeting to order. We'll go ahead and begin with prayer followed by Pledge of Allegiance. Chaplain Massey, you have the floor to lead us in prayer.
Would you stand as able and join me in the invocation this evening? Dear Lord and Father of us all, we come to you this evening to ask your guidance as the Sedalia City Council, mayor, administrators, staff, members meet to hear about, discuss, and make decisions for the betterment of our community at large. We are grateful for their dedication and service to our citizens. We ask your protection for all of our city and county first responders who work 24/7 to protect and serve us, often at their own peril. We are grateful for the United States of America, our constitutional republic, for which so many thousands have fought and died to create and preserve for over 247 years. We ask your blessing and protection for all of our military and civilians serving our great country today, here and throughout the world, protecting this way of life from threats from without and, more sadly, threats from within. And now, as we leave tonight, please protect us and our loved ones. Keep us from harm until we meet again. And all this is prayed in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Fagus.
Here.
Hiller.
Here.
Cross.
Here.
Foster.
Here.
Bliss.
Here. First item on our agenda is approval of the previous session minutes. We'll start with the ones for the council meeting dated September 3rd, 2024. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding these minutes?
I'll abstain from the approval of the minutes due to my absence.
Very good. Anyone else? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now I have the approval of the special council meeting minutes dated September 16th, 2024. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding the minutes? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the minutes from the special boards, commissions, and committees. First, we have the acceptance of the Traffic Advisory Commission minutes dated July 10th, 2024. Do I have a motion and a second?
So
Motion
moved.
approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding these minutes? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now the acceptance of the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes dated August 7th, 2024. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any council discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the roll call of the standing committees. Up first, we have Finance Administration. Chairwoman Bogus, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have four different presentations tonight. The first one being our audit results from William Keepers as the presenters tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Kristen Brown. I'm the audit manager on the City of Sedalia financial statement audit. Amanda Schultz is the audit partner. She apologizes for not being here. She had another municipality audit presentation tonight at another city. So I'll be handling the presentation tonight. We'll just be covering the summary report, which is the first report in the packet that you have received. This is just covering the highlights of the financial statements and the other two letters that we prepare as a part of our audit. So first, I'll cover the financial statements. We issued an unmodified or a clean opinion on the financial statements for the city's year-end March 31st, 2024. This means that the financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position of the city and its various funds, in conformity with generally accepted accounting principles or U.S. GAAP. It states that management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, which includes the design, implementation of internal control. We did prepare the financial statements this year consistent with previous years, and they were reviewed and approved by management. We do use our judgment in determining how to audit the city, so we focus our audit on areas where the financial statements could be misstated. Now, these financial statements include two different sets of financial statements, the first being the government-wide financial statements on pages 11 through 12. These are reported on the full accrual basis of accounting. They include all funds, as well as capital assets and long-term debt and other liabilities. The second set of financial statements on pages 13 through 22 are the fund financial statements. These are separated into the governmental funds, the proprietary funds, and the fiduciary funds. In this summary report, we've included a summarization of the highlights from the government-wide financial statements as of the year ended March 31st, 2024 and 2023. But the management discussion and analysis on pages 4 through 10 of the financial statements includes more details about the changes from year to year. Any questions about the financial statement?
Does council have any questions for the auditor?
Okay, I can cover the next portion of this report. This relates to the auditor's communication letter. So this is behind the financial statements in this packet. So this letter consists of comments about the audit process and its results, which are required under our professional standards to be communicated to the City Council. So this year we noted no transactions that we considered to be unusual or significant. GASB Statement 96 was required to be implemented this year, but it did not have an impact on the city. There are two statements that will be required to be implemented next year. This is GASB Statement 100 related to accounting changes and error corrections, and GASB Statement 101 related to compensated absences. So the impact of those will need to be assessed for the future audits. We also evaluated the key factors and assumptions used to develop significant estimates in the financial statements and determined that they were reasonable in relation to the financial statements as a whole. We noted the financial statement disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. We did find that the accounting records were in good order. We did propose several significant audit adjustments as a result of our audit procedures. These are primarily related to year-end accrual balances and the GASB 34 activity and balances. We had no disagreements with management on accounting or auditing issues, and no difficulties in performing our audit. We felt we received full cooperation from the city staff. Kelvin, Jessica, and all their staff were great to work with and provided requests in a timely manner when we requested items. The next letter I'll cover is the management letter. So this letter is used to communicate any findings we may have about the city's internal controls and other matters that we deem significant enough to bring to your attention. So although the scope of our engagement is not directed towards an opinion on internal control, we do consider internal control as a basis for designing our audit procedures. And just with that limitation, we did not identify any material weaknesses in internal control. A significant deficiency is a combination of deficiencies in internal control that is less severe than a material weakness, but important enough to merit your attention. We did identify the preparation of the financial statements as a significant deficiency. This is due to the significant adjustments that we made to reconcile the books and records into the full accrual basis of accounting, and in addition to preparing the financial statements. So when we make those adjustments and prepare the financial statements, we do feel like it's important to bring that to your attention. If in the future there are less audit adjustments and we're just preparing the financial statements alone, then this comment will likely be removed from the management letter. And then in addition, we became aware of matters where there's opportunity for strengthening internal controls related to recording and reconciling capital assets. Any questions related to those two letters that I could answer? Or just any questions about the audit process in general?
Any questions, council? No more questions.
All right. Well, thanks for your time this evening, and we appreciate the opportunity to be of service to the city of Sedalia.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Here's the report.
Thank you very much, and just so the audience will know, this is that report that she's referring to. So that's why it's not printed out for your immediate looking at.
Yep.
It's quite limited.
If I could interject, it will be online shortly, now that it's issued in its final form.
Again, thank you. Our second item tonight, excuse me, is a presentation in regards to our health insurance update.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm Anna with IMA Financial Group, and here to talk through benefits. Do I run this, or is somebody else running it?
You should have control.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk through the medical renewal, what that is looking like for 1/1 of 25. We also have a plan design recommendation on the dental plan. And then all your other lines of coverage are on rate guarantee, but we just have a summary snapshot to remind you of what other benefits are offered. So jumping into medical, we're going to talk briefly just about where the city of Sedalia has been in the past and where we are now and where we're going in the future. So historically, before 1/1 of 24, the city was a fully insured plan, meaning there are just those flat premiums that are paid to the insurance company on a monthly basis. If claims run better, there's no way to get that money back. If claims run worse, that risk stays with the insurance carrier. We moved to a self-funded plan, all bundled with Blue Cross of Kansas City 1/1 of 24. So that means the network, the claims payment, stop loss, pharmacy, that's all under the Blue Cross of Kansas City umbrella. And those claims, though, now are in that self-funded arrangement, meaning if it's a good year, the city of Sedalia can win. If it is a bad year, that risk also stays with the city, but that risk is capped at a maximum plan cost. So the reason that the decision was made to move to self-funding is so you have more overall control of your claims. A claim is a claim regardless of what funding arrangement it's in. So being able to have flexibility to pull any of those levers that the city wants to pull, you have a lot more flexibility to do that in that self-funded arrangement. Any questions on where we've been and where we're going?
Questions, council?
So what if we were still, the city of Sedalia was still in that fully insured arrangement? This year, it's not a guess because we did have that renewal that we received from Blue Cross for that fully insured arrangement for 1/1 of 24. And we're able to compare that to how you are actually running through July. And you can see the red up there is showing that if you were in that fully insured arrangement, you would be winning in terms of claims versus where you are in this self-funded arrangement. That also means the carrier would be losing. Blue Cross would be losing. So you might win for a year in this situation, but going forward, you're going to get a larger premium increase at renewal time. So when we're talking about the self-funded strategy, it is a long-term strategy to be able to control those claim costs and to be able to hold on to those dollars, retain those dollars in those good years, instead of letting the carrier take those dollars in the good year and then give you a big increase in the bad year. So you can see for 2025, that's just a projection. We don't know where 100% you're going to end up for the 2025 plan year. We do know you'd get a pretty sizable increase from the, assuming it would be Blue Cross again, but any fully insured carrier based on how your claims are running. So long-term, this should be a win. So lots of information. Any other questions?
Any questions?
Do want to also just give you an idea where you stand compared to benchmarks. We're going to look at plan design on this slide. We're going to look at premiums and employee contributions on the next slide. But here we have benchmarked the city against other public entities under 250 employees enrolled in the Midwest. We're looking at both a PPO plan option compared to your PPO plans and a high deductible plan option compared to your high deductibles. These are just averages, 50th percentile, so there's going to be some plans that have higher deductibles, some that have lower, but on average, the city's PPO plans have a higher deductible than the benchmark, with the benchmark being $1,000 and the city having a $3,000 deductible plan and a $5,000 deductible plan. Those maximum out-of-pocket costs are also higher than the benchmarks on the PPO plan. And then on the health savings account, that high deductible health plan, you guys really are right in line with the benchmark. The IRS says that you have to have a minimum of a $3,200 deductible to have an embedded deductible, meaning that if you're in a family plan, no one individual pays more than that $3,200. So that benchmark there is going to be slightly skewed just with other employers that have families that pay more out of their pocket on that family deductible. And then on the other benefits, your copays, the city's pretty much in line with those benchmarks, even a little bit better on like the PCP copay, those generic copays, specialty copays, that's a big one. Those specialty drugs are very expensive. And then if we look at how the city compares in terms of premium, you're going to see a lot of green up there on kind of the bottom slides there. That means that the city is more effectively managing costs than those benchmarks that we are comparing you to, those peer groups. So even though those plan designs are a little bit higher, the costs are quite a bit lower than your peers. And then you've got a lot of employees enrolled in that employee-only tier of coverage. And so when we benchmark that employee-only contribution tier, that is looking better than those peer benchmarks. And so even though we're a little bit higher there on those family tiers, the city of Sedalia is taking care of the employees, which make up about 85% of that medical plan enrollment. Any questions on the benchmarking?
Any questions, Council?
Okay, and then this is just another cost benchmark. This is showing the monthly total plan cost compared to a national benchmark. So instead of benchmarking you against peers, it's just looking at kind of a broader benchmark there. But you can see that the city of Sedalia's plan costs are about 50% of that national benchmark, even as we're seeing some increases, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. So what are we looking at for that medical renewal? We are recommending a needed increase to that budget number, those fully insured equivalents of 11%. We're also recommending that employee contributions for those tiers that make a contribution go up by that same 11%. As a reminder, with that move from fully insured to self-funded, we knew that we were going into 2025 expecting a little bit higher of a increase, because when you are in that first year of self-funding, those run-out claims stay with the insurer. So those claims don't start hitting the plan until a month and a half to 2 months in. So it's more like 2024 is more like a 10-month insurance plan of claims that you're actually paying. And then you have to make up for that and mature those costs for year 2. So it's actually looking a little bit lower than what we were initially looking at, with like a 13 to 16% increase. So recommending that instead of budgeting at maximum like we are this year for that initial transition year, that we just budget at what we expect those claims and plan costs to actually be. And then in terms of plan design changes, we're not recommending any plan design changes other than the IRS required change to that minimum HSA deductible from $3,200 to $3,300 to allow that to remain embedded. And we're not asking you to make these decisions now. We will ask for those decisions at the next meeting. And then in terms of, looks like my presentation got a little bit confused there, but anyway, in terms of what we're looking at for employee contributions, it's going to be really hard to actually see what's up here, but this is the detail on the increase on the employer side of 11%, with those premiums going up 11%, and then the split with the employees also picking up that additional 11% on those tiers that have contributions. And so even though we're asking both parties to pick up 11%, the bulk of that is on the city of Sedalia, with 90 or 87%, about 90%, if we want to round up, of those costs being picked up by the city, and 13% being picked up by employees of that increase. And then this is a lot easier to see, but this is showing just what we are recommending those 2025 employee contributions to be. That middle bucket shows how much each of those employee contributions is going up from 2024 to 2025 on a monthly basis. And then how much the City of Sedalia's cost is going up on a per plan, per tier basis per month. So lots of information and numbers. Any questions, thoughts?
Any questions, council?
Moving on to dental, this line of coverage is currently on rate guarantee. So if we did nothing, there's no requirement to make a change here, and the plans would stay the same, the rates would stay the same. However, there has been feedback that employees are asking for a richer dental plan that covers more of their out-of-pocket costs. So we are proposing a plan design change on the buy-up plan that increases that benefit maximum from $1,500 to $2,000 and increases the orthodontia maximum from $1,000 to $2,000. And that increases those premiums that are paid 100% by the employee by 8% on that one option. There still is also that base plan option that we're keeping that plan design the same and no increase to those premiums. So trying to provide options. Any questions on dental?
Any questions?
And then, as I mentioned, all of your other plans are on rate guarantee. You can see up there in the bold, we've got what is changing this year, or where we're seeing an increase, or what was up for renewal. So there's that 11% increase on the medical. COBRA, we've already made the decision just based on some service issues, as well as pricing, to move that administration from Rocky Mountain to P&A Group. It saves 50% on the premiums that's paid, or the admin costs that's paid for that coverage, and provides just some technology enhancements and hopefully some service enhancements. And then vision was also up for renewal. We did get a no increase on vision. But then all of those other lines, the life, disability, voluntary benefits, EAP, those are all under rate guarantee, and so no change. All right, so if there's any questions or discussion, we can have that now. As I mentioned earlier, the intent is to come back for the October 7th meeting with decisions on the employee contributions, the budget level plan design for medical, and plan design for dental. One side note, we did or had requested some alternatives on the stop loss premium from Blue Cross, meaning that stop loss is there for large claimants. So it's insurance on top of your self-funded plan. That level's currently set at $85,000. So any large claimant that is over $85,000, you're paying premium to have those claimants over that dollar amount thrown out. We've got a couple options for $100,000 and $115,000 specific deductible that's going to increase the city's claim risk, but also reduce premium. So if there is an option there that looks like it could bring down the premium a little bit further, we'll continue to look at that as well. All right, that's all I got.
Any questions, council, for item A?
Could you email us your presentation, please?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you for that presentation. Next, we have Jessica Pyle with our financial update.
So if we're looking at the second chart of numbers, we're talking about fiscal year to date, including July sales at the stores. Net sales and use tax, including the marijuana sales tax, is up over the prior fiscal year to date of over $484,000, or 5.2%. And if you remember, we budgeted a 4% increase. So we are over what we have budgeted by $114,155 fiscal year to date. If you look at the marijuana tax in that second chart, we don't have any prior fiscal year to date figures because that was implemented at the stores in October of 2023. So I think we got our first payout in January. So here in a couple of months, we'll start seeing prior fiscal year to date figures to compare to, but at this moment, we don't have any. Franchise taxes, the fiscal year to date, we're down over $500,000. That is, the biggest chunk of that is due to the charter settlement on streaming video class action that occurred in April of 2023. That was a little bit over $377,000. The remaining $125,000 that we are down is primarily due to a decrease in gas tax, which is down 43.7% fiscal year to date. Transportation taxes is higher due to three different categories. Gas tax is up 8.1% fiscal year to date. Vehicle sales are up 8.8% fiscal year to date. And vehicle fees increased this month, and so we're at 3.1% over last year fiscal year to date. And then property taxes, the majority of those will come in December and January. Any questions?
Any questions, Council? Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. Next, we'll have a discussion and direction from our commercial property insurance renewal.
I have a question. The commercial property insurance.
Okay.
That is only for commercial property. That doesn't cover wind falling out of your tree that's on city property, breaking your windshield.
No, that would be under the liability.
Oh, okay, liability.
Yeah, this would be the city's property.
Well, it says commercial.
Yeah. You want to explain that, or? Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the property insurance, running is running, generating, and the agency president for sure partnership.
Could we ask you to come up front, please? I'm sorry.
Hello, everybody. My name's Rodney Demery, and I'm the agency president for Assured Partners in the Sedalia office here. The question that you raised about the commercial property and the difference there is, the general liability is going to take care of any bodily injury or property damage for which the city might be legally liable. The property is, for example, we have building A. We're covering that commercial building, or it's not a residence, it's not personal, so it's commercial. Does that help?
So the city has to carry insurance for commercial property.
Yes, sir. Well,
he's just saying, like, this building is considered commercial property.
Commercial.
Oh,
yeah.
So we're insuring this building under a commercial insurance policy.
Okay.
Yeah, in the insurance definition of commercial versus personal, basically.
Thank you, sir.
Were there other?
Any other questions for Ron?
Did you want to go through these, or?
Well, we can, but if just kind of share some of the background on this. We did approach, I know, in excess of 15 different insurance companies, in addition to the incumbent market, which is Cincinnati Insurance. And various reasons, there were declinations on all of those. The thing that's important about this property insurance market right now, just a little history on it, is within the last year, there have been approximately 23, now 24 major storms that have generated at least $1 billion in claims or more in each one of those storms. Surprisingly, 19 of those storms happened right here in the Midwest, not on the coast where you would expect to have more issues with hurricane and so forth. So that's what's driving a lot of the insurance rates, and we have seen some increases like what we've seen here on your all's program. So
basically, we did several quotes. We did 4 different quotes. We quoted the property just as it is with the increases that were requested by the city, with a $75,000 deductible. That premium, straight across the board, came in at the $507,022, which was actually about $2,000 less than Cincinnati originally quoted you guys when that additional renewal was sent out. Then we moved to a $100,000 deductible on the property, and it saved like about 2% is all it saved on that. Then we did a property in the open, which is like your shelter houses, your arbors, your statues, those type of items that are not buildings. We removed all the property that was under $25,000 in value and made it a $10,000 deductible versus a $5,000 deductible. And that came into $487,976. We did the same thing with removing everything that was $50,000 and under and added a $50,000 deductible on the property in the open, and that came in at the $459,913.
The next piece is basically the recommendations, and do you actually want to look at that first?
What we did is I met with Calvin, and we did not get a firm quote from our carrier for multiple reasons, and for about 10 days after the bind date, to be honest. So I recommended to Calvin that we go ahead and bind at the $507,000, that we would make changes, and it would be retro back to the 9/1 date, where the city would not have any earned premium until those changes were decided upon.
So the mayor, under his authority, went ahead and bound that coverage because we had to keep the coverage in place. Otherwise, we'd add a gap in coverage. So what I recommend is that you all by motion ratify going ahead and binding that coverage. Ratify that decision.
You ready for that now, or do you continue discussion?
Yeah, I think we should just.
I'll motion to ratify the binding coverage.
A motion and second, any council discussion? While I have you here, I'd like to know why an 84% increase was dropped in our last 4 days before the due date. I think that's unreasonable.
I can't disagree with that, Mayor. I cannot disagree with that at all. Unfortunately, when we go out to market and we are dependent upon others, such as Cincinnati in this case, we did not receive that information until that time. Now, in that conditional renewal letter that was sent out in advance, they did indicate that the premium was possibly going to $509,000. But if, when I went back and looked at everything, could we have done a better job communicating? Yes, we should. We sure could. And it won't happen again.
All those in favor of ratifying the decision?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank
So beyond that, I guess I recommend that we are still working with them to get more details, to get more granular on what we are insuring and what it costs us. So I would recommend that we continue working on that, and we will bring back recommendations later to hopefully bring that cost down, at least to the $459 or however wherever we can bring it down. So. Anything else?
Thank you.
I do have a question, please. The 84% increase, is that across everyone? I mean, have most municipalities had an 84% increase, or just because of the storms, it's been such a great burden for insurance companies? Is this normal?
Every city is seeing different levels of increase based on their experience.
Okay.
And in this case, we've had some claims, and that's what's driving the largest part of this.
Thank you.
That's the end of the finance report.
All right, thanks, Chairwoman Bogus. Next, we have community development. Chairwoman Foster, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I have two items this evening, the first of which is approving planning and zoning text changes. There continues to be a shortage of affordable housing in the community, while there are also areas in the city that have the vacant lots. When analyzing some of the potential reasons for the vacant lots not being redeveloped, we noted that many of these lots are smaller. Therefore, when applying our zoning codes to include setbacks requirements, some of these lots represent a challenge to put a new home on. Consequently, staff began investigating ways to remove some of the zoning code obstacles to facilitate added options for developing affordable housing on these smaller lots. As required by statute, a concept was reviewed through the Planning and Zoning Commission process to make text changes to these code sections. Notice was issued and a required hearing was held, along with added public meetings to discuss various options and versions of the proposed code modification. In general, the resulting code allows for smaller homes below the current 650 minimum square feet in certain areas in the city under specific conditions. An overlay district is created that can be later expanded if deemed desirable, where property owners can apply for a permit to build a residence of at least 350 square feet. The Planning and Zoning Commission will then notify all owners within 185 feet of the applicant's property and hold a hearing to gather comments regarding the appropriateness of the proposed development. The Commission will then vote to deny, approve, or approve with conditions the application. The Planning and Zoning Commission staff recommend approval of the ordinance.
Okay, call for the reading of the ordinance amending Chapter 64.
Bill number 2024-178, an ordinance amending Chapter 64 of the Code of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, to create a new overlay district to allow for the use of tiny homes on small lots.
Second reading.
Second. I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this ordinance. Do you have any council discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2024-178, an ordinance amending Chapter 64 of the Code of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, to create a new overlay district to allow for the use of tiny homes on small lots.
Final passage.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this ordinance. Do you have any council discussion regarding this ordinance?
I had a couple questions.
Councilman Oldham?
And maybe it's just more, it needs some clarity on my side to understand it a little bit better. One, I had a question about the special permit fee for $350. If we're saying that this is a overlap district that we're creating, and we're saying that these parcels, the tiny homes these are the only things that they are good for, why not create a caveat under single-family home zoning instead of charging $350 for a special use permit? I mean, if we're already saying that these are the only things that they're good for, and they're only good for this area, why are we requiring citizens to pay for it?
I don't think that we're just saying that this is the only area that it's good for, because we're definitely wanting to open this up to the entire city of Sedalia.
Okay.
So that would be one thing.
So are we seeing then for larger parcels that this being allowed if we do this in other areas?
yes, there's no, reviewing what planning and zoning went through, a couple of things there that I think you're asking on your question. They did not limit it to a size of a lot.
Okay.
And partially because they foresaw that you could put more than one tiny home on a lot and kind of subdivide it up.
Okay.
And then, and there was some discussion at planning and zoning about limiting the size of the lot that you could put it on. They opted to not do that. Instead, what they did is they did a special use permit style, and that is the reason for the fee. The fee is to cover if somebody comes in and wants to do a tiny home on a lot, they have to apply and for that permit, and then the city then will send out certified letters to all of the people, all the property owners within 185
Right.
feet of that property.
Right.
So that's really what the fee is for, is it covers that mailing cost and all of that kind of good stuff, and as well as staff and all of that.
So what, I guess I fall back, I still don't understand why we're charging $350 for it basically being a single family home, just a smaller version of it. And I'm kind of opposed to the requirement, I guess, of the special use permit. I mean, if it's a single family home, just a smaller footprint, why the fee? Why are we requiring neighbors to have so much of a say on if I can build my home somewhere? And I'm also kind of opposed to regulating if it can be an Airbnb or not. I don't know where the point is. When do we start infringing on rights? To do what can I do with my property, and how much how much of a say my neighbors have to say about my property.
Sure. And
yeah,
that's absolutely council's discretion.
Yeah.
I mean, you all can, this was the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation, but as you know, they're a recommending body.
Yeah.
Council makes the decision.
I like the idea of tiny homes. I'm not seeing anything wrong with them. I wouldn't mind seeing an ordinance that does away with the special use permit and just letting it be a single family home. Up front, yeah. If we need to have a caveat of these smaller parcels are the only thing that they're good for is tiny homes. I like that idea, but it's just a single family home.
Well, there was some concern on that first meeting that with the tiny homes, we might have entities that want to put more than one and just kind of start building on top. So they didn't want that to happen within whatever neighborhood. And so that was one of the big concerns, is that let's make sure that we're not putting them so close together that you can't even get between them. So that may very well have been the reason for that $350 and special permit, to make sure that we are monitoring this and making sure that that does not happen.
I feel like we could work the code a little bit different instead of having so many stipulations. If I can just build a smaller home, I don't know. That's kind of my train of thought. And I wasn't too sure up until I read the ordinance. That was just my train of thought. I think we could do away with the special use permit and work on our zoning code to allow a smaller footprint home on a smaller lot.
Councilman.
Council.
Anyone else that would like to speak in opposition or for this bill?
Well, my concern is we get somebody go in and buy some lots and divide it up, and then start building a bunch of homes on it, because and then rent them out at a ridiculous rate. The idea is to try to get people in a home, and it's all that they can afford is a tiny home, and we need to use these little lots up, and that's the way it needs to be. It needs to be written to protect what we're trying to do.
Isn't that the point of a special use permit, is to
Right.
step by step and say yay or nay?
Right.
So am I hearing that you want to keep the special permit in place but remove the cost for it? Is that what you're saying?
And I would,
That's what I'm saying. Well, there's going to be building permits and everything like that. I understand that.
so
but-
the P and Z report, the rationale for the $350, excuse me, was to cover the cost of certified mailing and advertising, sort of the notice permit. I can't speak to their exact calculation, but that report says that's what the $350 is for. It's not arbitrary. It's to cover that.
It's for the mailing and having my neighbors have a say
Yes, sir.
on my home. I think that's where I'm kind of opposed to also. My neighbors wanted to paint their house hot pink. I'd make fun of them as all get out. I love Mike and Bobby, but I'd make fun of them. But that's their right to paint it hot pink. I see that as a smaller footprint home. I mean, these are good to combat a lot of things. You know, senior citizens who want to get out of their 3-story Victorian home, you know, empty nesters, or just a minimalist who just wants to be a small, you know, get into a tiny home.
Isn't there a, special permit or special use permit and a cost when you want to put a modular home on a particular property? You have to notify the neighbors then, you have to have a hearing, and they come in and discuss. I think that's already in place for modular homes.
Modular homes? I don't know if the modular home has a special use permit.
I generally thought the special use permit was something that we were gonna do at least for a while. We can always come back in a few years when we see how it's working and address it again, and
Oh, I mean, a special use permit, that's a lot where I'm having a 5G cell tower coming in, or I'm having a business, you know, a home business that's using a large amount of water. It's not necessarily a small footprint home.
it's something new. That's where my mind goes, and it's something that we gotta work with the community on, and it's something that we have to, I think, embrace. But early on, we don't wanna have something come up that would, well, at least we didn't get a chance to review it, have a little more scrutiny to it, and have the entire thing fall apart. So that's kind of where I'm at on it.
And I understand, both Councilman Odom and Councilman Bliss. My main thing is, since my first year on council, housing within Sedalia has been my main focus. And now that we're starting to look at a position or look at a way to where we can make sure that individuals have this housing, I don't want to see it destroyed or thrown away or put aside because of $350.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be something that we need to come back in and later on and say, okay, we're not going to charge that $350, but we're still going to allow this to happen.
I think there's an easier
We
way
need
to do it.
housing.
Yeah, I think there's an easier way to do it, yeah.
So do I have anyone else who would like to speak in opposition in support of this bill that's on the floor?
Get rid of the fee.
Having heard none, roll call, please.
Foster,
Yes.
Bliss,
Yes.
Robinson,
No.
Oldham,
No.
Marshall,
Yes.
Bogus,
Can we do it with an amendment of removing the $350 fee?
We've already called for a roll call, that time has passed.
Yes.
Hiller,
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
You have 6 yes, 2 no.
Okay, bill passes. Let's see.
Okay. I have one more item. I would please like to call Chief Building Official Brian Pop up to give us a presentation.
Hello. I'll be giving a full strategic planning presentation in November. I haven't been here a month now. I wanted to give a brief overview of planning and direction for. Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
get right on top of it.
Okay. I wanted to give a brief overview of planning and direction for code enforcement. Statistically, last week, we averaged 50 building inspections and 150 code enforcement visits. It's 200 chances for us to visit properties within the city limits, to interact with our residential and commercial neighbors, 200 chances to put a face on the city, to explain our codes and ordinances, to have dialogue with the public, and to assist them in understanding what the codes are and why we're there. I think of code enforcement much like being an umpire or a referee. We know the rules and we work with them every day, and these rules should be applied impartially. I've asked staff to advocate for the public, to help them understand why something may be in violation or a construction discrepancy, and to help them clearly understand the path to fixing it. They have supportive dialogue with the public. We generally engage the public in three primary categories: property maintenance matters, occupancy inspections, and building permits to include decks up to new commercial structures, signs, and all mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. With building permits, I'm evaluating how we process permits, review plans, issue permits, and conduct inspections to include coordination with our fire department. I'm looking for ways to streamline our processes and improve communication with the public and our applicants throughout the process. With occupancy inspections, I work to improve how we translate correction items to the applicant and to improve consistency throughout the inspection process. This will be accomplished in large part through in-house training and ICC certification exams. With property maintenance, again, consistency is key, and explaining a clear path to compliance is critical. The better dialogue we have about this in the field should result in a higher level of compliance without issuing citations that can lead to court. This too will be worked on in large part through in-house training and ICC certifications. Since I've been here, I did ride-alongs with the inspectors one at a time. I got to see how they do what they do, how they interact with the public. After that, I followed up with IDPs or individual development plans with each inspector. Had some one-on-one time with them to talk to them about their goals for ICC certifications, to map those out. And I also asked them some very pointed questions about areas that they thought were in most need of improvement within the department. There were some common themes within that information. It's all very helpful and will help to shape how we move forward. The strategic plan in November will focus on how we do what we do and how to best invest in our staff training and development to enhance and improve our public interactions and services. Again, just a brief overview, but I hope this helps.
Council, have any questions for CBO Cobb?
Thank you, Brian, for coming up and talking to us tonight. Look, I appreciate your comments about wanting to engage better with the community, increase communication and transparency. That's something we definitely need in that department. So I appreciate it and look forward to your presentation in November and what you bring.
Great. Thanks so much.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Brian, I want to thank you for taking care of Mrs. Brown.
Yes, sir.
I went out and talked to her that evening, and she was very happy that our guys went out there and talked to her and, kind of explained what I told her to begin with, but kind of explained to her that, that we've done all we can do, but the city is on her side.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, CBO.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.
That is all I have for this evening.
Thanks, Chairwoman Foster. Up next, we have Public Works. Chairman Hiller, you have the floor.
Okay, there are 4 items for consideration through the Public Works Committee tonight. Number 1 is the stormwater improvement project in the area of Broadway and Center is coming to completion. As is customary in contracts such as this one, some of the units of the construction are estimated in the contract and assigned a unit rate. Then upon completion, actual quantities are used to calculate the final invoice, and the contract is adjusted to this amount to close out such a contract. In this case, the project came $6,140 less than the unit's costs were necessary, resulting in a deduction to the final contract amount of $506,877.35.
Okay, call for the reading of the ordinance authorizing the change order.
Bill number 2024-179, an ordinance authorizing change order number 3 for storm drainage improvements project area number 14.
Second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading. Do you have any council discussion regarding this ordinance? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2024-179, an ordinance authorizing change order number 3 for storm drainage improvements project area number 14.
Final passage?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this ordinance. Do you have any council discussion regarding the bill? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
August.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
All in favor.
Bill passes.
Public Works staff has identified some records that have met the retention requirements and are thereby no longer needed. Staff recommends approval of properly disposing of these records.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion to approve, and I have a second. Do you have any council discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
The Citizen Traffic Advisory Commission received a request to lower the speed limit in Cambridge Village to 20 miles per hour. Commission reviewed the request and voted to recommend for council approval.
Okay, call for the reading of the ordinance establishing a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on Cunningham and Buckingham Drive.
Bill number 2024-180, an ordinance establishing a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit on Cunningham and Buckingham Drives in Cambridge Village.
Second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for second reading. Do I have any council discussion regarding this bill? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2024-180, an ordinance establishing a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit on Cunningham and Buckingham Drives in Cambridge Village.
Final passage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
All in favor.
Bill passes.
The Citizen Traffic Advisory Commission received a request to establish a no parking zone in front of 710 West Sixth Street. The residents there include some foster children with special needs. The parent requested the no parking to improve the safety of these children while getting on and off the school bus by providing a clear line of sight from the residents for the boarding and exiting of the bus. The commission voted to recommend approval of the no parking zone to the council.
All right, call for the reading of the ordinance establishing the no parking zone.
Bill number 2024-181, an ordinance establishing no parking in front of 710 West Sixth Street.
Second reading.
I have a motion for second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill?
I do have some concern with this. I'm concerned that this will set a precedent for other homes that have disabled children or family members who want to have no parking in front of their homes. I have a few constituents in my ward that call me on a regular basis asking for no parking on 5 feet on either side of their driveway, and they're elderly and definitely could consider themselves disabled, and I know that would be very hard for us as a community to have no parking in front of all of these homes. So I think if we do it for one, we need to do it for all. So I do have some concerns with this one.
One council member speaking in opposition to the bill. Do I have any council members speaking in support or opposition to the bill?
I have a concern as well, or wanting to know whether or not this can be amended. Can we say that there would be no parking in that particular area Monday through Friday rather than 24/7? Because the concern, it sounds like, from the homeowner is that when the school bus pulls up, she wants to be able to take the children there or get the children off of the bus. So I know that we have special hours of parking in other areas, and perhaps that would help to alleviate somebody else saying, well, you did it for that one, so let's do it for somebody else. These streets are kind of small, especially when you're looking at 5th Street, 6th Street. They're small. Parking is limited already. And so I just think, yes, we need to make sure that the children are safe getting on and off of the bus, but do we really need to put no parking 24/7 in one place in front of one house?
Good idea.
I'll second your motion. So I have a motion to amend the bill. This would change the times. On the motion to amend, we're going to need to read the bill in full. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So this would be to add additional language, and we're kind of doing this on the fly right now, to where this would be through Monday through Friday. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. during the school bus hours that the children would be getting in, on and off the bus.
Another option, Mr. Mayor, of course, we could table it to next time. That would give us a chance to protect the language. I admit this is not a radical change, but if you feel more comfortable, we can certainly get it perfected for next time.
I would actually, yeah, if we could I would prefer to go ahead and table that so we have a clear understanding of what we're working with here instead of doing this on the fly.
I make a motion to table it and letting the persons that are requesting this know that we are looking at it. We're not turning it down. We're looking at it to the place to where it would be beneficial for everybody.
I would describe it as a motion to allow staff to address an amendment to limit the prohibition to Monday through Friday.
Would you make a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second.
When school is out, would we still want this?
That's what we'll look at.
No parking?
If we table it, then look at that.
Okay.
Get it cleared up a little bit more.
So I'm confused, are we tabling it, or are we? Yeah. Okay.
Or postponing it. Motion second to postpone. Everybody who wants to further discuss the motion, the second to postpone?
Second. You need a second?
I already have one. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we will go ahead and postpone that, and we will bring that back to you at the next council meeting.
If I could, sir, for direction to staff, do you have a specific time period in mind?
So we get with the school district and see what
We can do that, yeah.
optimal
Okay.
school zone times would be. I think that'd be
When they're
better.
closed.
School district input. It would be akin to a speed zone during school hours. I think it'd be wise just to bring him into that discussion as well.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Hiller. Up next, we have Public Safety. Chairman Robinson, you have the floor.
Public safety has the need for discussion and direction about a new fire truck.
Does, Chief, would you like to go and put some meat on the bones of this ordinance?
I'd like to put some meat on the bone.
Yeah.
Sure, I guess. So, as it was discussed at the public safety meeting, Spartan, which is where we got our last fire truck to, who we are planning on purchasing a ladder truck from. As you know, my strategic plan, we had just come to council about replacing the old platform truck that we currently have. That rated 3 out of your 21, I believe it's 21, 24, and it was approved and budgeted for that ladder. The manufacturer has come to us. There was a municipality that had a ladder truck that they had ordered or were in the process of ordering. They have since backed out of that purchase. We have been asked if we want to take that spot in the purchasing of the ladder truck. It comes at about $200,000 less money for the ladder truck because it's being purchased off of pricing from 18 months ago when that city ordered their truck. So what we really need to discuss is do we want to purchase it now or take this spot? It's going to actually make this truck come in October of next year versus October of 2027, early-ish, 2027-ish. So that's really the decision that you guys get to make. You all have decided that we needed the ladder truck. It was done in the strategic planning. It is now just, do you want to get it earlier? Do you want us to stay where we're at and be our 900 days before we get a ladder truck?
Does council have any questions for the chief?
Are we sacrificing anything off of this truck?
We are not sacrificing anything off of the truck other than $200,000. And that's I get it. One other thing that, and Kelvin, I'll let you speak to this because I'm sure you ran the numbers in the spreadsheet. If we decided we wanted to pay for it now, there's an additional $60,000 that they will take off the truck for a prepayment. October is about 12 months. I'm not sure what our interest is on money and what we can get on anything like that. So I'll let you speak to that.
That works out about, I think it was like 3.8% interest on that money. We are currently doing a little bit better than that, so I would not recommend taking the discount, the cash payment discount. Plus, another issue is with that is that we learned on our engine purchase that just because they say it's going to be here in October, it could be delayed. So that would really change again the time value of the money. So I recommend that we just wait till October to purchase it or to pay for it.
Of 2025.
Of 2025. So, staff does recommend going forward with it, but council's decision.
Any other questions from the council? All right, call for the reading of the ordinance authorizing the agreement for purchase of the ladder truck.
Bill number 2024-182, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for the purchase of a Spartan ladder truck for the Sedalia Fire Department.
Second reading?
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of the ordinance. Do I have any council discussion regarding this bill? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2024-182, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for the purchase of a Spartan ladder truck for the Sedalia Fire Department.
Final passage?
Second. I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Bogus,
Yes.
Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Bliss,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Oldham,
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
All in favor.
Bill passes.
Second thing is, for several years, the city has been successful in obtaining a justice assistance grant to help offset equipment costs for law enforcement. The Sedalia Police Department coordinates with the Pettis County Sheriff's Office to share in the grant. The city is the applicant and works with the sheriff on identification of their needs that will fit the allocation percentage of the grant. Then the city enters into an agreement with the sheriff to reimburse them for their purchase under the grant upon receiving the necessary documents to satisfy the reporting requirements. The police department intends to use the city's allocation of $6,139 to fund an in-car camera. We recommend approval of resolution authorizing the application for the grant.
Okay, call for the reading of the resolution.
Resolution 2110, a resolution authorizing the Sedalia Police Department to act as an agent for the city of Sedalia in the application process for the 2024 Justice Assistance Grant, JAG, and an agreement between the city of Sedalia, Missouri and the county of Pettis, Missouri for distribution and use of any awarded funds.
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Do I have any council discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chairman Robinson. Next, we have the appointments. Call for the reading of the appointments and reappointments.
To members of the City Council from Mary Andrew Dawson regarding new appointments and reappointments. New appointments, Animal Advisory Control Board, Chuck Leftwich, replacing Arlene Furnell, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Park Board, Gary Holstein, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Reappointments, Animal Advisory Control Board, Jennifer Boatwright, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Board of Appeals, Mike Patton, 5-year term expiring June 2029. Lee Scribner is an alternate for 5-year term expiring June 2029. Citizens Traffic Advisory Commission, Chuck Leftwich, 3-year term expiring June 2027. John Rucker, 3-year term expiring June 2027. James Callis, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Dennis Henderson, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Housing Authority Board of Directors, David Esser, 4-year term expiring June 2028. Park Board, Dan Van Dyne, 3-year term expiring June 2027. And Connie Washington, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Public Library Board, Emily Schmidt, 3-year term, July 1 of 2024 to June 30, 2027. Sedalia Historic Preservation Commission, Becky M. Hauser, 3-year term expiring June 2027. John Simmons, 3-year term expiring June 2027. Sedalia Main Streets Board of Directors, Lucas Richardson, 3-year term expiring January 2027. Aaron Harding, 3-year term expiring January 2027. And David Esser, 3-year term expiring January 2027. And Zoning Board of Adjustments, Chuck Leftwich, 5-year term expiring June 2029.
Motion to approve in block?
A motion to approve in block. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. Do I have any council discussion regarding the appointments? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Now we have the liquor license. Call for the reading of the liquor license.
We have one new license and 5 renewals. New license for Juan Reyes, doing business as Taqueria El Castino LLC at 504 West 16th for Sunday sales and beer only. And then renewals for Daniela Silva, doing business as Morales Taqueria Bakery and Grocery at 125 East 16th for packaged liquor and Sunday sales. Teresa Moore, doing business as Rudy's Discount Smoke Shop at 3040 West Broadway for packaged liquor and Sunday sales. Janice A. Ulmer, doing business as Sedalia Elks Lodge number 125 at 320 South Kentucky for liquor by the drink and Sunday sales. Crystal Sims, doing business as Woods Express 570 at 703 East Broadway for packaged liquor and Sunday sales. And Kathy Getz, doing business as Break Time number 3084 at 318 West Broadway for packaged liquor.
Motion approved in block.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve in block. Do you have any council discussion regarding the motion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Up next, we have any miscellaneous items for city council or city administrator. We'll open the floor up.
I have one, and I was kind of hoping, well, she might know, Miss Devil might know. I was hoping that another individual was here tonight, but I got a call from the second ward over in West Clay Street area that it is becoming a dumping ground back there. There's no houses or anything, and there are a lot of brush that has grown, and I have called several times, and the street department has gone out and they have cleared away. I believe it was last week or just this past weekend, there was a call made to the police department because there was a cage that was thrown on that. From what I was told, the cage was a cage for reptiles, snakes. Within that weekend, a lady that lived a few houses from there taking a shower came out of her bathroom, and the snake was in her bathroom. And of course, I don't know the size of the snake, but they said it was the size of a python. So I didn't go look. I said, take pictures and show them to me. However, I would like for that area to be beefed up, because not only is it a dumping ground, but it's also a ground where a lot of drug activity is happening because of all of the brush that's covering Clay Street.
Where, Tina?
Clay Street.
Do you have the nearest cross street?
Nearest cross street is going to be, Missouri and Morse Avenue down in that area. It's just bad.
I've got something.
Go ahead.
Now, this is going to take a few minutes. I want to take several minutes tonight and give people my view of issues and opportunities that are facing Sedalia and Pettis County. I'm certain a number of people attending tonight want to discuss the letter or upset about the letter, the amount the letter costs the city. I've heard loud and clear from several people that sending out a first-class letter to inform them of the city's side of this disagreement over permitting requirements inside the city limits for the county was a waste of money. I disagree. Since that letter went out, I've been getting a lot of interaction and a lot of conversation with Sedalia citizens and inside the city limits, and Pettis County citizens outside the city limits. So everybody involved. As far as I'm concerned, that letter worked. I have friends, like I said, inside the city, and I'm certainly supposed to represent the people, or outside the city, and I'm supposed to represent the people inside the city. I tell them, and this is what I'm telling everybody and what I'm going to continue to tell everybody, I'm going to go around and make this cause and make this case over and over again. This is Yes, Yes campaign 2. I tell them I'm certain we can, and I ask we can settle this, and the commission and the council can get along. I tell them I'm certain that we can get that done, and then I ask them, do you know the facts? So far, I've gotten 2 basic responses: no, tell me the facts, and you knuckleheads sued the county. I respond to that with 3 points. Number 1, the commission believed they were sovereign over the city and therefore did not need to acquire permits. My first response, I thought we lived in a democracy, not a monarchy. My second point that I make to those people when they ask this is the county and the city get their authority to govern from the Missouri Constitution, which publishes the revised statutes of the state of Missouri, the rule book, so to speak. The revised statutes outline how the counties, cities, townships, and other taxing entities, like fire protection districts and water districts and ambulance districts, interact. The statute recognizes each as a separate political subdivision of the state. The third point that I make, in other words, none is sovereign over the other. Third, and probably the most important point, the city and the county were at an impasse. Why? Because I believe our most important duty is public safety, life and property, and we have the authority and the responsibility to enforce reasonable standards to accomplish that inside the city limits. And I believe, and I said earlier, the county believed for county property inside the city limits, that was not the case. So here's where we were at, all right? We were at an impasse. And the city legal counsel checked civil law, which this applies to. This is civil law, and found several precedent cases in Missouri that matched the situation and indicated to us, to me, when I say us, I really should say me. I'm one councilman out of a group of 8. And this is what was in my mind. But this indicated to us that the county did have to get permits and follow code precedents inside the city limits. Civil law is based on precedents. We felt strongly enough about this issue to ask a judge for a declaratory judgment. That's an instrument for governing bodies to resolve issues without finding fault. I thought it would be a civil, simple, and fast way to resolve this. Obviously, I was wrong. The city basically said, we believe we have the right to ask for a declaration of judgment. Here are civil cases that are precedent. The county said, you're suing us. We will withhold your revenue from the road and bridge half-cent sales tax. Okay? At first, they put 1 or 2 checks in a desk that had been written or drafted for the city, and then they passed a resolution to stop drafting the checks. That tax was first passed. That road and bridge tax was first passed with support from both the city and the county in 2000. Jane Gray was the mayor. Todd Smith was the presiding commissioner. Knowing sales tax in the Sedalia-Pettis County area as I do, an eighth of a cent is worth about $900,000 to $1 million. So the total annual tax generated is around $4 million. The residents of Pettis County inside the city limits share $365,400 per year. That's our share inside the city limits, as established in 2000. That amount has not changed since 2000. Since about half of Sedalia's population lives inside the city limits of Sedalia, to me that amount seems low, $365,400 out of $4 million. But regardless, that's been consistent since 2000 and until April of 2023, when the county stopped moving that money to us. Last year, the county changed the allocation of that road tax to a granting process, and they offered us $300,000 when we submitted our grant application. That was mentioned last time we met at a council meeting. But what wasn't mentioned was the city had to agree to build a paved road that would cost $2.5 million. That $300,000 offer was meant, I just said that, okay? Back to a moment for the declaratory judgment. I attended that hearing, and in my novice, I'm not a professional lawyer, but I listened to the opinions and the rulings. To me, the highlights of, in my novice opinion, are, number one, the case is cited as precedent law is good law. The judge said that. The county's lawyer said that. And of course, our council said that. So with civil law, when it's good law based on precedents, that's important. The judge pointed out that if the county did begin a project inside Sedalia and did not pull permits, the city had grounds to file an injunction. Now the county has purchased, I believe, the old Sedalia Democrat building, And won't that be interesting if they go ahead and start to work on that building? I don't want that to happen, I really don't, without pulling permits. The judge stated she had no doubt the county was withholding the tax revenue for the people of Pettis County inside the city limits of Sedalia as a retaliatory measure. That is a judgment that's public knowledge, I assume, on CaseNet, but certainly something that everybody can find and confirm. And if you have trouble finding it and want me to show it to you, I'll show it to you. The tax sunsets in 2025. So I will only support the continuation of that tax if wording is added to the ballot language that spells out how the tax will be prorated and distributed to all the cities and towns of Pettis County. I do this because I represent the citizens of Sedalia. That's my job, and I'm serious about it. And I've proved that, I think, in my 4 or 5 years that I'm here. This is critical to Sedalia because while the county has withheld this revenue, the city has continued to pay obligations incurred from paying $8.4 million for the county jail. Sedalia issued those bonds. Sedalia pays those bonds, not the county. I believe those payments will continue until 2026. Right now, the city has lost about $500,000 in revenue, but we continue to pay those other obligations generated by the funding of the Pettis County Jail and the renovation of the sheriff's office in the old federal building. Not to mention our payments for joint communication and some other things that we continue to do and have never withheld, even though we've had to deal with this sales tax issue with the county. This is causing the city to eat into cash reserves. We can't keep doing that. Adequate cash reserves are looked at as a significant factor when determining a city's financial rating. The better the rating, the lower our interest rates are when we borrow for capital improvements. Because an accident is a chain of events that can lead up to a terrible tragedy, I believe we have to stand strong on this permitting and inspection issue. Remember, Bill proudly had his picture on the front page of the Democrat holding 7 envelopes from the city of Sedalia and denying access to county property for 10-year structural inspections. The letter indicated the city would provide the inspections at no cost, or the property owner could have their own engineer do the work, and the city would reimburse up to $500. But to my knowledge, none of the 10-year inspections have happened on county property. More importantly to me, because I am a safety professional, because of the declaratory judgment that the judge did, we have gained access to the county jail to coordinate with the sheriff and his personnel if a fire did break out in that jail. I told my students for a year, when you act safely and break a chain of events that could lead to a disaster, you're acting in a responsible, professional manner. Don't let coworkers or employees tell you you're not. If you're on a job site and know something needs to be done to ensure safety, do it, or make sure it gets done. I taught hundreds of construction professionals that, and I owe it to them to stand up right here. Considering the jail has hundreds of incarcerated people, a commercial kitchen, and an exhaust system, a sally port to get through, and it's built to keep people in, not get them out, I'm glad now we have the ability to rehearse a worst-case scenario there before it happens. That's how you save inmates. That's how you save officers. That's how you save firefighters. Number 2, social media. Not concerned citizens. I very much appreciate concerned citizens or people living outside Sedalia and having no internet or no interest in and having an interest in Sedalia. I'm sorry. I'm happy with people inside and outside the city of Sedalia having an interest in this community. That's really important. Remember, everyone checks social media before they hire someone or moves themselves or their company here. And things said on social media can have a morale effect on my city employees. That's important. There are 3 basic forms of government in the United States: federal, state, and local. If you haven't noticed, it seems to me we're kind of seeing the collapse of our government, especially at the federal and the state level, partly because of the way we govern and interact with our citizens. So how do you govern and interact? Any basic textbook, you can go through a list and get it. You can get people to go through a governing process and oblige and cooperate. You can threaten them, you can incarcerate them, you can fine them, you can fool them, you can coerce them, you can incite them, you can collude them, you can reward them, or you can persuade them. When I grew up at Looney & Bliss Lumber Company, we had a poster on the right next to the bathroom door as you walked in that bathroom door. And it said, we forget these things too soon. It said that we forget that other men died to keep us free. And it said that, and I have to paraphrase the second one because I'm getting old and I can't remember it exactly, but it said that the key to governance in a free society is a Christian belief, a Christian society. And I want you all to hear that. I truly believe that. So, to me, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I'm going to help govern and move this body forward with the Golden Rule and the Ninth Commandment. And I hope somebody here, I had to look it up, but I hope you all know what the Ninth Commandment is, because I'm going to ask Tina before it's over with. I'll let you know. The most important and effective form of government is local. Why? Because we really know each other, and if things really get bad, we take care of each other. And it's important. Local government, what we do up here, what these people do up here, and what the commissioners do is really important. It's local governance. We can solve our problems. We have to communicate. And I'm going, and Jim's here tonight, I'm going to council tomorrow, or the commission tomorrow, and basically deliver this same thing. I owe it to them. Okay? But basically, Dad also told me that when I lost it here, but it's basically when you send $1 to Washington D.C., when you send $1 to Washington, when you send Washington to Washington D.C., you get back Lincoln. When we send money to the federal government, $1, we get back a penny. When we spend money and tax money and do things here locally, we all benefit from it. It doesn't leave our community. So what's the trouble with social media and Facebook? There's no journalistic standard. That's another thing that worries me about our society. There's no journalistic standard on Facebook. You can say anything you want to say and not be held accountable, except by other people. All right? Except by the people that read Facebook and you live with. They're the ones that can hold you accountable. So I'm going to do as much face-to-face work as I can and try to deliver the things that are going on and speak about the facts concerning the city and the county. I'm pretty sure I can convince the council to waive permitting fees, but we need to get this thing settled from the county perspective and the city perspective. I'm certainly going to try. We have to get the road tax revenue flowing again. Heck, we've got several great projects that we can do as a city and a county, like the viaduct and roads around the perimeter of Sedalia city limits, in order to get the intermodal facility up and running. Those are great goals for both city and the county, and we need to beat back the landfill. The county has enough on its plate without all of this. I'm not going to. And I'll say that. But I do want to read one example here. I heard on Facebook, or learned on Facebook, that the city had caused Impact Sign to add sprinkler systems to their lean-to area, and that was wrong. I followed up on that. I asked the fire chief if that was wrong, and I'm going to read you the two memos that he provided to me. I'm going to let you make your own decision. The first one, May 23rd, 2014, 1:27 p.m. To David Goodson from Matt Worth. CEO Goodson, I would like to thank you again for reaching out to the fire department with your questions concerning the sprinkler system for the lean-to portion of your building. We have reviewed your request to allow removal of the dry system. That would protect this area. I do have some follow-up questions and needs from you. One, we believe there to be none, but we were not able to confirm that no insulation or any other coverings would be a part of this roof structure for this area. Can you confirm there is none? Two, will any forklifts or other motorized equipment, vehicles, cutting equipment, torches or the like be stored under this area? Three, we would like confirmation that no flammable or combustible materials will be stored in this area. This would include cardboard or wood packaging materials that the metal could be transported with. Four, we will need to update stamp drawings, design of the sprinkler systems. We will need an updated stamped drawing or design of the sprinkler system that will be installed without the section in question. I think it should say about the section in question. And then, this is a very key sentence in this memo. After review of the code, we can allow. It doesn't say we disallow, it says, after review of the code, we can allow this area to be omitted from containing a sprinkler system. He then goes on and gives the section 815.7.2 that is the part of the fire code that those four questions are there. Second memo from David Goodson, Thursday, May 23rd, 2004, 2:57 p.m. Matt, there's no insulation in the roof at all, just metal panels. Equipment would be used for forklift, etc., for loading and unloading steel, but all of our equipment is stored inside the building. We will have no combustible storage of fuel, cutting torches, or anything of that nature. Everything is stored in proper areas and containers inside the building. The engineer will have no issue with providing a new set of stamped drawings. Would only take a week or so to deliver those to you. Thank you again for taking a second look at this, David. I asked if we had ever received those stamped drawings. The answer was no. And from what I understand, there is a sprinkler system in that lean-to area. But this sentence, I'm going to read it one more time. After review of the code, we can allow this area to be omitted from containing a sprinkler system. So the city did not deny, the city did not force that issue. I'm a professional constructor. I've taught construction my entire life. I've dealt with these issues. And I've seen this happen before quite often. The codes don't require something, but the insurance company wants you to do it anyway, because that reduces their liability or their proposed liability. I don't know this to be the fact, but right now, as a city councilman, if Chief Irwin is here to end this conversation, I'd like to say, Chief, you did a good job representing the city here. You kept the documentation, and I very much appreciate it. And I think it clearly proves that the city did not force anyone to put a sprinkler system in their lean-to area. Thank you, sir. I'm done.
Okay. Any other council people that would like to make a statement, everything they want to say?
There is an individual on the phone who would like to say something during the good and welfare section.
Okay. Very good. All right. Having heard none, we'll go ahead and move on to good and welfare. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone of the framework of this segment. Each speaker is requested to step forward, clearly state their name and their address, and will be allotted 3 minutes to present their statement. Please note this is not a session for dialogue with council, nor is this a period for question and answers. It is a time for you to make your voice heard, for us to listen, and your statements to be entered into the public record. We ask that all matters, and we ask that all remarks be kept respectful and pertinent to community manners. So with that, we'll go ahead and open up the floor, and anybody who'd like to make a statement, go ahead and approach the podium, state your name and address, and you'll be allotted 3 minutes.
How are they identified on those?
I don't know if they're in the go-to meeting or if they're in the, they're not seeing. I'll see them on the.
Go ahead, Mr. Johnson. We'll go.
David Goodson, 1640 Hedgeapple Drive. Steve, I'd like to respond to what you read. You're absolutely right what you read. So what we knew was packaging, banding. There was some language in there that we knew sooner or later we was going to get BS hassled by the city. We ate it. We put it in. not because of my insurance company. You guys have been on that insurance kick, saying, oh, these ratings will bring it down. Our insurance company's never once asked or cared or have we asked how it affects us, and it doesn't. There's no way that that was a player. We did it because we didn't want to get hassled down the road. We wanted to take any question out of hassle. Because earlier on, we had a conversation with Daniel Shaw where basically he threatened us over a fire suppression system in the paint booth when he said, well, you can take my recommendation to put the individual suppression system in. I said, no, we're going to do it from the drawing. He said, or we can inspect more often, and the more I'm there, the more problems we will find. That is BS in anybody's book. We knew where we were headed, Steve. Under the leadership of Mr. Shaw, we're driving business away from our community. We're doing a horrible job of retaining it. We should be able to grow better, have more effective leadership, and not be having this lawsuit with the county. We didn't have this problem 3 years ago, did we? We didn't. We had it when Mr. Shaw decided he wanted to enforce this. You guys could squish this with the county any day you wanted to. You could clean the city up. And if you guys as councilmen and women are elected to do it, we have movement in this community. We're talking to a lot of people as well, one-on-one, Steve, and they're not happy. We're seeing it. You guys have the ability to set up here and make changes, or you have the ability to not. And what we're seeing is not. It's not happening. Changes aren't being made. But for you to use that one email there and make it sound like, yeah, the city did cost us money during this process. We were delayed. We've had the whole thing. Leon Foster came out to our groundbreaking and said, oh, hey, Sedalia's a friendly place. I didn't go back and look at the whole video and see what else. We're going to make this easy to build. We want business. And we don't. If we don't, Pittsburgh wouldn't be building in the county. Fishers wouldn't be building. We'd have a big development happening on the north side of town. We'd have other businesses. We'd have more homes being built. We wouldn't have contractors running from the city. And it looks bad, but you guys can stop it. And as far as the county tax, you guys have the ability to sit down with the commissioners. The lawsuit thing, $15,000 and send a letter out, and you got, what, 3 phone calls? 4? 4 phone calls for $15,000? You could have threw out Walmart for nothing and got more conversations than that. I mean, that was absolutely a waste of money. And it didn't do anything but make more hardship. But you think the commissioners feel good about working with you guys? And we're talking about public safety. Let's talk about fire hydrants that are broke all the time. Let's talk about the condition of the city water lines. Let's talk about the mislabeled 911 addresses throughout town. Those are safety concerns. Everything you do in the name of public safety is just a cover for you guys to impose things. You need to lighten up on it, use common sense, use what I call Midwestern values, and govern the city the way it deserves to be governed. And if you guys can't do it, I'd like to make everybody aware we have a new political action committee called Seeing Sedalia Succeed. Our committee's gained a lot of momentum, a lot of donations coming in, and that money will be used to support candidates and causes that support this community in the right way. So I urge you guys to, if you want to make a donation, get a hold of us. If you want to learn more, look at us on Facebook, and we'll keep you up to date. Thank you, guys.
Fingers crossed. All right. Anybody else? Come on up.
Before the next person comes up real quick, I'm going to see if the individual can speak.
Actually, what we're going to do, Councilman Oldham, is we will go ahead and work through the people that are in person. At that point, we'll go ahead and open up all microphones, and we'll see if somebody's on there.
Sounds like a plan.
Go ahead.
Jim Markham, 21524 Main Street Road. I didn't come to talk about this at all, Steve, tonight. I come because our Transportation Advisory Council with Pioneer Trails, it's time for us to vote. Andrew, you and I have talked about having people on our board. Chris is still there. We have 80% of the stuff that we have on our TAC list this year goes into the city of Sedalia. We need Chris's vote to stand up, otherwise Johnson County and Lafayette County are going to take our work away from us again. What I was asking for is I would just see, Chris, if you could come sign a piece of paper so we send it in. We have our full 8 votes, which means a lot between us and Saline County trying to get money from the federal government. The Missouri Association of Counties right now is going to push this year. They want the state of Missouri Highway Department to fill all these steps that have been put out for the last 6 or 7 years that never have got funded for anything. It's going to be a really push. We've got about 8 representatives behind us, but we need our votes. We need to have our name put at the top of it. So, and Steve?
I'll be there tomorrow, and we'll go through it again, and we'll.
Well, all I'm gonna tell you is, you know, you understand that the city has filed a lawsuit against us, so I can't talk about this like you can. But the only thing I guess I would like to ask you is, you really do not want the county to move down to the Democrat building, is that right?
No, I do.
You just said you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Instead of it
I
being
didn't say
nightmare,
that. I said that you're gonna have to work on it.
Remind everyone that this isn't a dialogue.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We'll
just
talk about it tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll talk to you.
okay, all right. Thank you very much for your time, so
Thank you.
help me out if you can there.
All right, up next, come on up. Come on up.
My name is Gary Lobaugh. I live at 821 South Arlington Avenue. I just have one question and some points. When you have presenters present stuff and it showed on the screen, we don't have monitors out here. So I would hope that's printed and all those charts are printed in the minutes so we can refresh ourselves on it. Also, I have a question on the tiny homes. When the Planning and Zoning Commission, is there wording in that there will be no apartments allowed at all? I mean, we got millionaires making buku profits, and I don't want to make tiny profits. I'm not against capitalism or making money, but I just think if it's just for homeowners, let's keep it for homeowners. Another thing is, I lose my train of thought. I used to be a conductor. That's pretty embarrassing, isn't it? Our financial update. Why do we call it a financial update? Why don't we call it rolling in the money? I never see anything about rolling the money out in a financial update. If I'm taking an update, I'd like to see both sides of it. What's going out? What's coming in tonight? But what's going out is important too. It balances. Last thing, and I'm not being facetious, I've been known to be, but I would invite any city councilman to come to the Sunshine Law seminar, because I'm sure we'll have discussions afterward and we could benefit from your knowledge of it. Thank you.
Where is it?
It's 6:30 at the Hector Center tomorrow. Wednesday, September 25th.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lobaugh.
Thank you.
Up next, come on up.
My name is Janet Mazansky. I live at 723 East Fifth. My question to you all again is, I am asking the council to consider 5 minutes for us to speak. We have a lot to say, and sometimes we can't say it in a 3-minute time period. My question to the council is, when will you consider getting rid of Mr. Shaw? Other people would like to see Mr. Dawson go. I don't think that's where a lot of the problems lie within our city. So I'm asking, and I'll ask at every council meeting until he is paid off, his contract is done with, or you all just fire him. Another thing is, a lot of you act like you don't care what we say while we're here, because you don't. I don't need no dirty looks or anything else. I've been on city council before in another county, and we never treated people like you all do here. That there. Okay. If Mr. Dawson was removed, nothing's going to change. You know why? Because Tina's going to move to that seat. I've asked Tina a couple of times to do a town hall meeting with Ward 2. I'll get back with you. This is since May. Never got back with me. I've asked for a stop sign at 5th and Montgomery to slow down the traffic through there. We don't get no input back from you all at all. I should not have to put my car out in the street along with the car across the street from me to slow down traffic through there. You opened it up, you shut it down north and south, but you opened it up east and west. There's a lot of kids in that neighborhood. Two's been ran over already in the past. I don't want to see that. We just want a little respect from you all. I don't think that's too much to ask for. We have a lot of people come to us, and yes, I am a member of the Concerned Citizens Group. We are concerned. Sedalia has had a lot of problems for many years. One of them is the little tiff between the county and city. You know how embarrassing that is? I mean, you all should all be embarrassed. You should sit down like adults and figure this out and squash it. I mean, even at the county jail, the police, the county, I mean, why? Why are you, all of you acting like 2-year-olds when you need to grow up and do what's best for our community and our county? Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Jason Unwin, with a nonprofit here in Sedalia. I actually live in Cole Camp, but I want to give you guys an attaboy today. The idea of having those small homes is a great idea. Rather than leaving vacant land that is just people can just dump trash on and cause all kinds of problems. If there's at least a home there, you got a homeowner who's probably going to take care of the land, and it'll be less likely someone is going to dump their trash or their snakes on the out in the yard because someone's going to be there and trying to make it look better. It enhances the community. And we have a youth program in the Civil Air Patrol, and I used to work at a federal penitentiary, and anything we can do in this community to make life better for its citizens, better for its youth, better for its families, helps the entire community and by extension our state and nation. And so the reason this draws into another issue, I'm not exactly sure how many homeless people you have in this town. We had a cadet who was homeless, and so we were able to work with her to get her into the program, et cetera, and she was safe and all. But the issue is that if you can work with, it'd probably be a big project, because I used to live in Pueblo, Colorado, and Colorado has a big homeless problem. In Pueblo, they've literally taken the bulldozers and swept out the homeless camps. Now, I don't know how bad it is here in Sedalia, but don't let yourself get behind the power curve. Otherwise, you're going to be pulling out bulldozers and create a lot of problems. So what I recommend is, if you can, is try to get a grant program together maybe and do like Austin, Texas did. I used to live in Waco, and Waco had a big problem with homeless people. Austin made little homes and expected people to take care of it, plus offered drug and alcohol rehabilitation, education, work training, etc. And so those people then went from their homeless building that the city of Austin created, ideally move up to another permanent lodging. And so if you have small homes here, tiny homes, that might present an opportunity for people to move from homelessness into the homes. Admittedly, not, I don't expect Elon Musk to move here, okay, but you're at least getting something, property taxes, fees, etc. And so anyway, I'd really encourage you guys to really pursue that. And again, we're trying to do our little part, in Civil Air Patrol, but anything you can do to improve your community, state, and nation is the best. And so keep at it, and hopefully it improves everything. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. All right, up next.
Debbie Covington, 2601 East 12th. And I timed this at about 6 minutes, so since we had to listen to Steve go on for 20 minutes, hopefully you could give me a few extra minutes. But what I've learned the past 5 months about each one of you sitting up here has been nothing short of disheartening. I'm not disheartened by the fact mistakes have been made, or maybe each one of you have voted on topics differently than I would have. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all have put faith in a person or an ideal
that we found to regret later. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm disheartened by the fact the community has communicated concerns and the behaviors remain the same. When a mistake is made, to change behavior is an action that can show a lesson has been learned, you're listening and you want better. For the behavior to continue shows us, your constituents, that you don't care and you're going to do whatever you want, and that is what we are seeing. I am disheartened by the constant disrespect to the citizens of Sedalia. I'm disheartened by the fact people take time out of their lives to come to these meetings, to share their concerns, to sit through your nonsense, and we get a whopping 3 minutes to speak, and you have zero dialogue back. I am disheartened by the fact you have been asked time and time again to stream the meetings live on Facebook and your website so more constituents can be involved, and you refuse. And mind you, there are other municipalities of your size doing it. I am disheartened by the city of Sedalia, that the city of Sedalia remains steadfast in making the county and our county commissioners their enemies, wasting tax dollars to do so, when there are so many safety issues and more important things you could be using tax dollars for. I am disheartened the city of Sedalia fired a local tax-paying, homegrown Sedalian, our city attorney, to hire Lauber Law Firm for the implementation of revenue generation through code enforcement and land acquisition, while that tax money goes out of the city and out of our county. I am disheartened by the unethical code enforcement push that has resulted in homes and historic properties lost and gone forever, yet the city does a lackluster job maintaining their own properties and infrastructure. I am disheartened by the city of Sedalia's need to acquire property and land. One property they lost money on by selling it to a city councilman that would also receive federal grant money to renovate. Another property losing over $80,000 from demolition by selling it to another city councilman. What a waste. Shouldn't your goal be to recover as much taxpayer money as you can? Nope, not as long as you're hoping to push the agenda. I am disheartened by the mismanagement of the Paul Brune grant that has resulted in many qualified applicants to be turned away while city officials help their best interests in their circle, including councilmen, former mayors, and members of commissions and boards, while also getting their close connects, in some cases, families, contracts for work, which leads me to wonder about other grants. I am disheartened by the countless amazing city employees that work here, find themselves in complicated situations due to toxic, manipulative dictatorship, but forced to conform to keep their job and put food on the table for their families. I am disheartened by the lack of respect the city has shown.
Your time is expired.
He's talked for 20 minutes, and you can't give me an extra 60 seconds?
That's up to the body, man. Thank you for your comments.
I'll finish it next week, or next meeting.
Anyone else?
Oh, no, Facebook, actually.
Renee Vance, 19813 Tanglenook. I'll make this very short and sweet. The Sedalia Senior Center does have this bud sale. It is on Wednesday. We've got a few extra that are available if you'd like. And we also are in desperate need of volunteer drivers. So if anyone has an hour or two to spend a week or a month, we'd love to have you. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, I believe we have someone on. Is there anyone else in person who would like to make a comment? Come on.
Yes, my name is Nancy Sims Van Buren. I live at 422 W.T. Morris Avenue. I have a couple of questions and I know they're not going to be answered, but hopefully at the next meeting because I've missed a few city council meetings. My first question is about the sidewalks that were supposed to be put in. Seems like it's been quite a while since that started, and I don't see any sidewalks getting put in. And I am curious as to when we're going to actually see sidewalks being put in. The other question is about this tiny home issue again. Are we going to start seeing properties where we're going to place? My concern is if you're telling me that this property is not big enough to put a house on, then it's surely not gonna be big enough to put two tiny homes on. I think that the tiny home idea could be a good idea for single-family dwelling, but the idea that they could just start popping up and becoming rental property, which is needed, affordable rental property, or we're gonna have people coming in like we have all the apartments popping up, and people are gonna snatch up the property. A lot of that property is owned by the city of Sedalia, or are we gonna start selling that property off, and these people are gonna start sticking these homes up, and nobody's gonna live there anyway because they can't afford to move in them? That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Sims. Anyone else? Okay, so with that, not having any more in-person comments, what we're going to go ahead and do is we will open up the, all microphones on the GoToMeeting, and then I would ask that whoever is on there that wants to give a public comment, please state their name, their address, and then you'll be allotted 3 minutes in order to do so.
Can you guys hear me?
We unmuted all?
Yeah, the ones that are still muted, they have muted themselves.
So if you are on the line on the GoToMeeting, we have unmuted on this side everyone. If you want to go ahead and make a public comment, if you could go ahead, please unmute your microphone, and then you'll be allowed to make a public comment.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. If you could please state your name, your address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Samantha Gilpin, and I live at 1201 South Montgomery Avenue. I would like to express my deep concern regarding the ongoing stormwater improvement project in our community. As residents, we have faced numerous challenges that stem from what has become a poorly executed endeavor. First and foremost, the lack of oversight has been alarming. The project manager has been largely absent, appearing only when complaints are made. This reactive approach fails to address the pressing issues we face daily. For instance, pooling water has become a common sight in our roadways and yards, not only posing an inconvenience, but also a safety hazard. Additionally, trash and construction waste are strewn across our properties, public pathways, and sidewalks. This negligence not only detracts from the quality of life in our neighborhoods, but also raises concerns about public health and environmental impact. The situation has escalated further with critical infrastructure being compromised. We have lost water supply 3 times, had a sewer line punctured, and a gas main hit during destruction. These incidents are unacceptable and highlight a lack of planning and coordination among the teams involved. Moreover, we have experienced confusion due to incorrect dates on official city notices regarding work schedules, leaving residents unprepared for disruptions. This lack of communication exacerbates the already chaotic situation. Perhaps most distressingly, many basements and garages are now flooding due to the absence of a clear plan for water management during this project. It's disheartening to see the financial and emotional burden this has placed on families in our community. Many of these water claims may not be covered by homeowners insurance, often leading to denials due to lack of proper endorsements in their policies. I urge the council to take immediate action to address these issues. We need a more proactive and transparent approach with regular updates and increased communication from project managers. It is crucial that we prioritize the safety and well-being of our residents as we move forward with this essential project. Thank you for your attention to these pressing matters, and we hope to see meaningful changes soon.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Gilpin. Is there anyone else on the line that would like to make a public comment? If so, please open your microphone, say your name and address, and you'll be allotted 3 minutes. Okay, having heard none, I will now entertain a motion to move to closed session.
Motion move to close for session for legal advice, real estate, and negotiated contracts.
I have a motion and a second to move to closed door session. Do I have any council discussion regarding the motion? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Miller. Cross. Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
This
Okay, do I have a
conference
motion
will
and a
now
second
be
to-
recorded.
Motion to open.
Second.
Motion and second to return to the regular meeting. Roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yeah.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes. All right, call for the reading of Bill 2024-183.
Bill number 2024-183. An ordinance approving a special warranty deed for the sale of properties commonly known as 2204 South Marvin Avenue and 2206 South Marvin Avenue from the city of Sedalia, Missouri to Demetro Matsko.
Second reading.
Second. I have a motion and a second for second reading. Do I have any council discussion regarding this bill? Having heard none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2024-183. An ordinance approving a special warranty deed for the sale of properties commonly known as 2204 South Marvin Avenue and 2206 South Marvin Avenue from the city of Sedalia, Missouri to Demetro Matsko.
Final passage.
Second. I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion regarding the bill? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross. Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yep.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
All in favor.
Bill passes. I will now call for the reading of Bill number 2024-184.
Bill number 2024-184. An ordinance approving a special warranty deed for the sale of property commonly known as 318 West 16th Street from the city of Sedalia, Missouri to Max Kondratchuk.
Second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of this bill. Do I have any council discussion? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2024-184. An ordinance approving a special warranty deed for the sale of property commonly known as 318 West 16th Street from the city of Sedalia, Missouri to Max Kondratchuk.
Final passage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the final passage of this bill. Do I have any council discussion? Having heard none, roll call, please.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yep.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right, the bill passes. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Do I have any council discussion regarding that? Having heard none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting adjourned.